What? Alright, so it's Thursday, we're live. Part of our new stream schedule. Sorry, I hopped out yesterday. I had a bit of a migraine going, so I didn't want to try to do stabby things with that. That would not have gone well.
I don't hear you doubling up, dear.
Oh, okay. 1 second. I'm hearing an echo on. Okay, did that do it twice?
Hang on. I muted. Well, not muted, but I turned you down.
Oh.
It's a little high right now.
I'm high or you're high? Tell me when you're ready, because I have to make it do the thing.
I'm trying to find how to raise the bloody audio, because they've...
It should be on the screen.
Volume mixer... Firefox, I've got you as high as I can, so...
Like, on the Twitch screen.
Yeah, no shit.
Well, am I personally...
Because I can hear you as good as I'm going to hear you.
Am I personally too loud or too quiet?
I don't know, hon. I can't tell if it's doubling, because it's just a flamingo sound.
It did it once, and then it did it a second time.
And I only heard it once.
Okay. Weird. Oh. That might be why. Okay. So now the question is, am I too quiet? Or what? I don't think I am.
Again, it was probably me, hon. My audio settings are all weird.
Now, we'll try that. Alright, so as a side note, before we really get going here, my power flickered when I was setting up. So we will see how that goes. It hasn't done it since. And I don't know why it did it, because it wasn't storming. But we'll see. But it was a good thing I stopped early, a few minutes early the other night, because like within like 15 minutes of me hopping off, we started to get severe thunderstorm warnings and weather statements, and then we had 2 tornado warnings, and that was kind of scary because like it kind of like split us a little bit. We had one go like over our house, but don't know if it touched down or not. It might have touched down briefly the city before us. It was scary for me, but we didn't have any damage. I expected like more stuff to be disheveled on our porch and everything, and it wasn't. It was very odd. And it didn't even really seem like there was like low rumbly thunder, but there was no like house shaking thunder like we normally get. It was very strange. And then out of nowhere, they threw us under a severe thunderstorm watch today for most of the day. And I'm like, why? There's nothing here. There was like 2 tiny little showers that developed, and the rest of it was to our south and east. I'm like, we really didn't need to be in this. But what can you do? So we'll see how things go here. Anyway, there was also a Windows update that didn't help, that kind of mussed things up there a bit. But we are back to our new stream schedule here with the later start time. And we're going to see how that ends up working out for us here. We'll see. So yeah, sorry about last night. I was not feeling well. I had a pretty bad migraine. It was tolerable through most of the day, and then right around when stream would have happened, it just kind of exploded, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to bed. I can't. Like, I was watching the storms because there were storms coming in. I was waiting for them all evening based off of the timing that our local people were saying, and nothing. And I'm like, okay, what seems to be happening to our south and way to our north. We were dropped out of the tornado watch that was going, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed. And within 2 minutes of me laying down, it started to thunder hard, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Because then I thought, you know, Doggo was gonna be trouble. And he actually wasn't too bad, which was surprising, unless the husband dealt with him and I just passed out. But he didn't seem to be too bad. And I don't know how long it thundered. It might not have thundered that long. We did get some rain though after I lay down, and I'm like, okay, well, I can't really be mad about the rain because we need the rain pretty badly. It was a very dry winter, like disturbingly dry winter here. I think it might have snowed once. We usually get 2 to 3 since I've been here. So that was kind of like, what the heck, man? But you know how it goes, I guess. Now, I did pull out some of the other supplies because I wasn't sure how long it was going to take us to do what we needed to do today. So I don't know if we are on our last session with this guy or not. It kinda depends on how long it takes the purple to go in. and how long it takes me to fuss a bit with the foliage, which I forgot to display. Nope, that's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Okay. So we'll see if we get to making our frame tonight. I'm kind of bummed because I did want to work on the embroidery canvas last night, but I was trying to work on it earlier in the day to work on the background on it, and my brain was just too mushy to sit the way I needed to sit to see what I was doing to work on it. And I was just like, you know what, this isn't working, so we're just gonna preemptively cancel between my head and the weather. I'm throwing in the towel. Now, since I missed yesterday's stream, there's going to be an oddball Little Known Galaxy episode show up in the middle of this week's live stream archive on Twitch. So I just wanted to make sure I was going to have enough space in between the live stream and it going up on the archive. Because I wasn't originally sure if we were going to stream tonight, because we were originally going to go to the zoo today, and those plans had to change. So now we're going to try to go on Monday. And remember, we're not streaming on Monday. We're now streaming on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Those are now our new streamy days. Now, tomorrow, I'm not sure what's going to happen. We're supposed to be in for the possibility of some more severe weather tomorrow. I don't know what time that's supposed to be. I wasn't really seeing anything real definitive. It might be tomorrow night again. It might start after we wrap up though. That is a distinct possibility. So we're just gonna have to see what happens. As it happens, I guess. And if I have to cut and run early because of weather, then I have to cut and run early. We are doing Planet Zoo tomorrow, so I foresee a lot of saving tomorrow night. Just to make sure that nothing gets too crazy. I really didn't want to miss a Planet Zoo if we could help it. We're still kind of working on our staff stuff in that area. And I really didn't want to record it and then upload it. See here, that's more of a YouTube thing. I could have worked on it a little bit, I guess, off stream and just recorded it so you guys didn't really miss anything. Just posted the behind the scenes extra work, and I might have to do that soon because I don't know when 2 is coming out, but I don't know that we're going to be done this zoo before PZ2 hits the presses. Because I don't know what the date on that's looking like. I do know that they pushed back the release of Outbound. That got pushed back a month. I guess maybe bug fixes and stuff. Because it was saying like the end of April, and I wasn't sure if I had missed it yet, so I went to the store page, and now it's saying like the middle of May. So I was like, interesting. Because I don't know how much it's going to be yet. That's what I was trying to find out. Because eventually I do want to pick that guy up for streamy time. But we also have a couple others that I still want to work on. I do want to do Bookbound. Don't know if we're going to record Bookbound or if we're going to live stream Bookbound. Husband picked up something that he was talking about possibly streaming together. And I don't remember what it was. Was it something cooking simulator? One of the cooking simulators? I don't remember which one. But I also have bookshop simulator. And we also have not been back into Stardew Valley in quite some time. And there's been quite a lot of updates. Part of me kind of wants to take a look at that, but we're also in the middle of Dinkum. And Dinkum is probably going to take a little bit. They've also got a anniversary event, or an anniversary update, I guess I should say, coming up. So don't know how long it's going to take us to do the things that kind of wanted to do. And I don't know if there's, I mean, I guess you eventually will get to a point in Dinkum where you've done all the things. And you're just kind of left twiddling your thumbs. I did not realize there was yet one more house upgrade to go until the other night. And that's gonna take us quite a while to get that money saved up, because that was pretty pricey. So I don't know if I am just completely jumping the gun on that. I don't know if that's gonna like require building materials that we haven't even come across yet. Like, I don't know. We'll have to figure out that one as we get there, I suppose. I actually started a new off-stream one to muck about in, and you do definitely get different island configurations when you start a new map, because the one they dumped me on is very, very, very different than the one that we currently have going on stream. I have to keep reminding myself, I want some of that to poke through. in some areas, but I also don't want it to look like it's the gray poking through. Just a little bit of water. Just to help kind of shape this guy up. Alright, so we did start a few minutes early tonight. We're generally going to be starting around 9 p.m. Central. At least to try to combat how hot it's going to be in here during the day as we get into the warmer months. And to possibly cut down on some of the interruptions that have been plaguing us recently. I can't guarantee animal interruptions will calm down, though. That kind of depends on Mr. Bean and how he's behaving at any given moment. But it's kind of funny because now he'll sit outside the mother-in-law's bedroom and wait to go in if you walk into the hallway, and I'm like, oh, you want to go into your room? Because that's how he views it now, as his room. Because she's not always here. And sometimes he wants to be in there. We've tried still letting him be free at night a couple of times, and immediately, as soon as we laid it down, he was on my desk specifically, and I still haven't put all of my knickknacks and things, paintbrushes and all, back out on my desk. Some of my stuff is still in a box from when we were away. And he immediately tried to find anything and everything that was up here that he could get into. I'm like, dude, no. I have this like $30 flamingo sculpture that was made out of wood that somebody carved. And he has an obsession with the beak on it, and he keeps trying to gnaw on it. I've never seen a cat try to gnaw on stuff that wasn't string-like. He loves to chew on stuff, and I'm like, my guy, that's wood. Could we not? You're leaving teeth holes in it. And then I found teeth holes in my toucan. I got a big toucan that's, I don't know, 2 feet long, 3 feet long, maybe 3 feet long, that's like on a little metal perch. We got that when we were in Key West in 2024. And I have now found teeth marks in the tail that hangs over the end of our bed, and I'm like, who chewed the toucan? I have no idea. But nobody's talking. So I'm like, alright. Let's not do that. Because I don't think I can paint match the toucan. So I'm kind of nervous about attempting to fix him. And I really don't want to fix him if they're just going to turn around and re-chew on him again. But I honestly don't know if it was even Bean. It could have been one of the others. There's a world in which I can see it being Ed or Mr. Peabody. Because they both hang out near where it was hanging at times. Yeah, we probably won't be getting to the mounting stage tonight. We'll see. I'd hate to have to do a separate stream just for the mounting stage, because that's not going to take very long. Like, it's just not. But, I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, it's not that much further. But in reality, it kind of is. Because I was messing around with the audio. So we've been going maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes for actual stabbing about here. Oh, let me pop that guy up. Okay, I think we're looking okay here. I did have a loose little bit of some fuzzes over here because Bean walked on top of this where I had it hanging out and tracked some dirt on it when I was trying to pop that off of there. I noticed some loose fuzzy bits. So I wanted to take care of those real quick while I was thinking about it. Now, after we finish this guy up, we are going to start working on a tissue paper art, but it's going to be like the same one as this reference photo. I really want to do a tissue paper art version of this too. And I think I've got enough of that prepped. I probably should just pull a bag of tissue paper out and sit here and work on twisting through it as I'm editing video just to have it done. Because I do want to use up some of that. Oh, I should give you guys a sneak peek on the Bob Ross inspired embroidery that I'm working on. Now, I know there's like a Bob Ross embroidery kit out there. And I've seen like the end pieces that people have completed on it. I wasn't really that happy with it. Like, I don't think it was the person. I think it was the stitch choice, maybe, for them. Where I was just like, I'm not all that impressed. Now, I'm not saying mine is any better. Um, this first one I'm doing, it's not, like, realistic. So don't get your hopes up about that. I am just kind of using it to get my feet wet. I could have probably added a bit more shading to it, but this one I just kind of, this was a tough one to figure out for my brain, and I just kind of like winged it, so it's not going to be super realistic like some embroidery pieces can be. um, I was just kind of having fun with it, seeing what I could do with it. I'm gonna play a little bit around with some shading and stuff, but not like too much on the sky, more like on the trees and stuff. So I was like, well, we'll try it, right? What's the worst that can happen? I hate it, right? I hate it and it goes into the rehome pile and we'll see if somebody else loves it, right? Wow, awful late to be gunning it that hard out there with your vehicle, but okay. I guess time is but a construct for those that have their exceptionally loud vehicles. It doesn't matter. I suppose, to them. So, like, the bigger and fluffier the chunks are, they take a little bit longer to get attached here. At least to my liking. Okay. See, that right there still feels a little fuzz. Like, we could be tapped in there, maybe just a little bit more. Okay. Alright, so let's grab a little bit more fluffy stuff. So, traditionally, people will use, wool roving for the needle felting. For the dry needle felting, you know, that's fine. But, you know, wool roving can get a little expensive, depending on how much you need. So I tend to use acrylic yarn because it works a little bit better within my budget. Right? You gotta art within your means, you know? Just because of the larger pieces that I do. And, you know, I needed to be able to get more of, if not the same color, then a color as close to it as I can sometimes. Especially if that color kind of becomes a staple in what I'm doing. And the one like set of roving colors I could order, you got what you got and you got to be happy with it. There was no way to like select your colors. You couldn't see what you were getting ahead of time. I think I ended up with like 7 different shades of red. And I'm like, okay, they were like just a tick off of each other, but noticeably a tick off of each other. And I'm like, I can't, what am I supposed to do with this? So, if I ran out, and like they only give you like floss size bags of it, so it was very small. And then for me to order the colors that I needed, I wasn't seeing the colors that I needed that I could get access to easily. Because when we first started this, you know, we were following along with Bob Ross. We're taking a quick break from Bob Ross to do this side quest, just to break it up a little bit. And you know, it was very kind of specific color tones that I needed for that. And I needed a fair bit of it. And push comes to shove, the acrylic yarn I could get in a multitude of colors that I didn't have to dye myself. And because Needy ain't got time for that. Or the space to do it. Or the patience. So, that was a side quest I did not want to do. So I was like, okay. Well, I can get a lot closer to the colors that I'm looking for if I go this route. So this is the route I chose. And I've got quite a large, color library, I guess we can call it, a color storage at my fingertips here, because I was able to get the acrylic yarn on sales and stuff, so I got much more acrylic yarn for my buck than I believe I would have with hi Zuzu, than I would have with the roving. Now, the acrylic yarn does take a little bit more prep work before you can go ahead and start stabbing through it, because when you get it, you know, you're gonna get it from your yarn aisle at your supplier of choice, and it's gonna be plied and ready to knit or crochet with. So you need to make it fuzzy again. And so that involves, you know, cutting some lengths of it. Not super long, and not super short, you know, just something small. Couple, I wouldn't go longer than 6 inches personally. And you need one of these bad boys. One of these pet grooming brushes that have the little angly teeth in there. Little like elbow teeth. And to brush the yarn. Start at the bottom and then work your way up. And then flip it over and get the other end from where you were holding it. And then the stuff that you brush those plied pieces into, that's what this is. And then you can use that. So, and I mean, you can do critters with the same stuff too. I tend to use polyfill as the core of my critters, or if I do happen to have roving on hand, that's a color that I don't know what to do with, then I will also use that if I need to as my inner bit. This piece was a little bit longer than I realized. I actually thought it was a little bit thicker, so it would have filled in that whole section in there, but it did not, alas. That's okay. All good. We'll get there eventually. Like, I'm not in a super rush on this guy. We'll get there when we get there. I'm sure some people are probably frustrated that we don't always have a finished piece at the end of the session. But you know what? That's okay. We don't always have to have a finished piece. We are gonna work through it. At a piece that's gonna work for us. The best. Okay. So if stream does suddenly cut out of nowhere, then our power went out. I don't think it has flickered since it did earlier, and I'm not even sure why it did earlier. Unless a squirrel got a little too frisky. Although the squirrel probably should have been in bed by now. Maybe it's a tree branch. Oh god, the one night we were woken up. Is it during a snowstorm? It might have been during a snowstorm. To what sounded like a transformer dinosaur screaming. And like everything just buzzing so loud. It was like, roar, and we're like, what the fuck was that? It was loud. It jolted us awake. We thought something was wrong with our fuse box, and we're like, what the heck? We bolted up, and I think our power went out for like a minute or two, and then it came back up, and then it did it again, and we're like, what the heck? Did it a couple times, and then it stopped. You know, just enough to get the dog upset. And we were like, what on earth is going on? And we stepped outside. We couldn't see anything happening. And we're like, huh? This, what? And so we were like, okay. It stopped, right? So we're like, I have no idea what that was about. But we checked all of our stuff and everything seemed fine. So we're like, I have no idea. We're like, maybe there was a transformer issue somewhere. And we're like, yeah, but that was really bizarre. You know, are we sure it wasn't just us? Um, we ended up going back to bed because the power came back up like a minute, 2 minutes later. We get back in bed. I think we had just fallen back asleep. It might have been 20 minutes later, maybe an hour and a half later, and it started again. And we're like, what the heck? Except this time there was like a loud bang, and then the power went completely out and didn't come back up. And we're like, what just happened? So we were trying to figure this out, and we were trying to report our power outage. Which is difficult to do when your name isn't the one on the bill and you don't know the passwords to get in there to report the outage, so we were trying to figure it out. And it was at this time we realized that the issue, looking at the outage map, was right around the corner from us. Like, the next house over and down the side street, we realized, hey, there's like flashing lights over here. The electric company was over there. There was tree branches in the power lines by a transformer. And we're like, oh, that's what happened. Gotcha. Okay. Well, at least that mystery has been solved. No idea how long it's gonna take them to fix it. Maybe it wasn't maybe it was a thunderstorm, not a snowstorm. I don't remember. No, it had to have been a thunderstorm. Or like a rain and windstorm. Because the only time it really snowed this winter, we weren't here. At least snowed any significance. Like, we had a couple flurries before we left. I think. And a week or two after that happened, we were seeing the power company all over the area trimming trees in a few spots. I was like, oh yeah, that must have been happening quite a lot that night. I think it was already on the schedule and the weather just got squirrely before they could get to it. But, oh my goodness, that noise was like a robotic T-Rex, however you would think that would sound, screaming into your window. That's what it was. It was very loud and very terrifying. I don't know how the people that lived right there weren't like, maybe they're the ones that called it in for what was happening there, because that had to have woken them up. The power pole was right at the end of their driveway practically. Uh-oh. Someone's getting sassy. Do to do is getting sassy. Alrighty. So we're gonna get all of this worked into here. And we still have, you know, a little bit more to fill in here. Hope everybody's been having a good week. Hope everybody's been dodging the severe weather the best that they were able to. It's been quite the beast here this week. That's for certain. Okay. Gently peel that up. So I'm kind of surprised because like right there it didn't really seem to go in very well. Alright, I do have a bit, not all that noticeable at the moment. I do have a slight thin spot, like right there. But I'm pretty sure will probably become an issue when I go to start putting in our foliage here in the front, because we don't want to deal with that. That's gonna be, I want to deal with it now instead of later, because that's gonna be tough to deal with later. Like the back section, like right there, doesn't really seem like it's stabbed through, which is kind of bizarre. I'm not gonna lie. It just doesn't seem like I'm seeing it on the backside. So I'm slightly questioning my sanity because it's making it look like there's nothing in that spot. But yet, there very clearly is, obviously. Okay, so maybe it just wasn't stabbed through fully. Alright. So just a little bit of water just helps the fiber kind of shape. You don't have to do this. You can just lay the fluff down. And, you know, you don't have to do a little fluffy snakes. It's just something that I like to do. But traditionally, most people just grab a bit and slap it on there or layer it on there. And then go to town. This is just a Niseyism. And just how I like to handle it. So I'm hoping that we will have time to work on getting the foliage put in. Don't know if we'll get it all put in, but I'm hoping we'll at least be able to start. But then again, if it takes me 2 hours to fill this other section, then the yarn's really fighting me. Like that wouldn't be such a good time now, would it? Like, I'm not anticipating that being too much of an issue in there. Okay. So, I might need to put another little piece on there. Just because it looks a little spread out. In a couple of spots that I'm not too crazy about. We'll see how this bit goes in here. It could just be the way the light's hitting it. That is entirely possible. And so I got a little bit of the backgrounds black thread filled in on the name canvas. Not very much. Like I said, I was feeling like absolute crap. And I probably shouldn't have been playing with the very sharp needle. But I tried to muscle through, get a little bit of that done. And I did get a little bit more editing done. I'm trying to edit this embroidery projects recording when I'm not, you know, I don't have anything else going on and I don't have time to, or the will to record that day. Kind of kills me because I wanted to keep going on it, but then I had to stop for other stuff that I needed to deal with, and I didn't want to do too much on a stream night. So I was like, well, I guess I'll just record on the non-stream days, and then the rest of the time I'll just work on the edit, because I have to have the camera set up a little bit differently. I have it a bit more zoomed in because it's actually a little bit awkward to get the stand in a position where I can kind of do what I need to do and have it be visible to the camera with where I've got the camera situated. Because I need it slightly tilted in the stand so that I can see what I need to see. So it's not going to be like completely flat because the camera's not over my shoulder. It's in front of me. It's actually in front and above for where I have it attached. And the camera is actually upside down. I had to flip the image to make all of this work. I was actually worried when I was setting up stream. I'm like, because Bean tried to jump up either on top of my computer tower or on the shelf that is next to my computer tower. I'm not sure which, but he flubbed it. He is not the most graceful critter. And he got tangled in the wires on my one panel light, and that seemed to be the one that was flickering, and at least that's what it seemed like. It seemed like only one of them was flickering. It didn't seem like both of them were. At least that was the one that had caught my attention, and I was like, why is this suddenly flickering? I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no. So I was like quickly unplugging it because I'm like, well, is it being pulled somewhere? Like, what's happening? And I was starting to panic because I'm like, oh, do not tell me this panel light's gonna give up. Like, I thought he had messed it up because I think it's the first time I've used the panel light since he did that. Because I hadn't recorded anything for a couple of days. And I was like, Mr. Bean. Or at least recorded anything that I needed the lights for. And I was like in a panic, and I'm like, and the husband had bought these a couple of years ago off of Amazon. I'm like, husband. He goes, what? I said, how much were those panel lights? It was panel lights. I said, yeah, the panel lights, the big square panel lights. How much were they? Because one of them is flickering and it's an LED. It shouldn't be flickering, and I don't know what the heck's going on. He goes, no, it's not the light. I'm like, what? He goes, one of the lights out here were flickering too. And I was like, huh? I'm like, are you sure? Because, like, the other lamp in the room, two of the other lamps in the room, did not appear to be flickering. It didn't seem like it was a whole house flicker. Hello, how are you, Tommy? Hope all is well. So, it was very strange. Maybe it was just the LED lights that started to flicker. I don't know. It was bizarre. I mean, it could have been an accident in another town that was part of this power grid. I don't know. It's been windy. Is this the first time? Like, even in all the storms, the lights flickered once. During the one tornado warning. And we all were like, uh-oh. But they never went out, and they didn't really dim. It was just like a brief little kind of almost flicker, but not full flicker. And we were kind of sort of in the bathroom. But the bathroom's on an exterior wall. I would have felt better if we had an interior closet, but we do not. I would have felt really better if we had a storm shelter. But then again, I don't want to go outside in the lightning to get to it, so I'd much rather have an in the house safe room. We don't have a basement. Not many houses around here have basements, probably because there's a lot of springs in the area, so that might be an issue. Or at least a reason for why there aren't many. But that also doesn't make much sense to me because there are some underground storm shelters around here. So you would think if that was a problem for a basement, it would be a problem for a storm shelter. Maybe people just didn't really have them around here, so they're a rarity, or maybe they're just expensive to put in. I don't know. Don't know. But if we end up not moving, then that's something I want to have. Of some description. So I know there's above ground ones you can do. They're expensive is all. I think that's that spot on the pad that doesn't like to be stabbed into. Hi, Zuzu. Zuzu's back. I'm not sure why Zuzu was back. The other night he was mad at me because the lights were on and he wanted to go to bed. And he didn't settle down until I turned the lights off. So hopefully all has been well with you. We're doing okay-ish. Trying to settle into our new stream time. Alright, so let's see here. Let's try to get this guy lined up in here. And we'll see what tomorrow brings. I'm hoping we can get the Planet Zoo stream in before the weather gets funny. I might try to start a little bit early tomorrow to ensure that that happens. And it depends. Like, part of me would like to start at 8 tomorrow. Hi, Zuzu buddy. I don't know what you want. Daddy just gave you a second dinner. And I don't know if you actually ate it. Because I can't see your bowl from here. So I don't know if you are still hungry or not. Pretty sure that's the same loud vehicle that went by going in the other direction. Returning from where they came. Buddy, I don't have any food. This is fluff, not food. I promise. This isn't going to taste very good. Okay, so got that brushed down there. Okay. It's very distracting when he's tapping around behind me. Oh, we don't, well, I mean, we might end up needing that much, but I don't need that much yet. Right, a little bit of water. Oh, that's a bit of a ragged one there, isn't it? That one's got some thin spots on them. Alright, so I'm going to try to bring this one off the edge here. So that I can ensure it's going to cover the entirety of the edge. I'm okay with having to trim some of that off. And I do know that that edge, well, both edges, might be slightly short when we go to pop it onto the backing, because it just barely measured out to the right length, and this was the largest piece of felt I had. You know, I guess I could have used the t-shirt. A little late to think of that now, but I've not felt it on the t-shirt. I did a demo of it to see if it would actually felt into it, and it did. I guess I just kind of forgot about it as being an option because my brain was like, felt. I'm not sure how much the shirt would pull in though, because I've not done a full piece. I only like stabbed into part of a sleeve just to see how it would go. But I'll have to remember that for next time. Okay, let me see about popping that up from there. Again, you don't have to do this brushing down from the back. It's just something that I tend to do. What? Hi. Hi, yes, you have a wiggly tail. You do. What's the matter? Well, alright, so he's just being fussy, it seems. He's being fussy boy. That happens. Alright, so hopefully everything is going well with you. It is the normal chaos over here, as usual. Alright, so I want to kind of overlap that a little bit. That piece is probably a little too much overlap, but that's okay. It'll be fine. So we just have this little bit left here. I am super excited to get to the zoo because it's been quite a while since we've been there. We didn't go at all last year. So I'm hoping we can get there on Monday. I actually don't know when we went last. I guess it might have been early 2024, maybe? Maybe it's been like 2 years. So we definitely didn't go at all last year. Like, I can't wait to see what their construction progress is looking like and what's what and where the stuff is going. Because it's hard to picture it when they're talking about where it's at. They finally got their elephant area redone and finished. But they're supposed to be redoing, I I think the painted dogs area and the lions. We're supposed to be getting a giant anteater. And they're bringing zebras back. They said bringing them back, so I guess they had them at one point. I don't remember ever seeing them there, so it must have been before we started going. So I'm not quite sure where they're gonna be, or if they're even in yet. There's a chance they may not be. Excuse me. So I'll get this bit. So I probably overlapped that section a little more than I really needed to, but the way the light was hitting it there, it kind of felt like there might have been a little bit of gray poking through. But it could also just be the way the light is hitting this particular shade. That is also a very distinct possibility. We have to be careful when we lift this guy up because we've done quite a bit of dabbing here. Right. Gentle, gentle, gentle. That wasn't too bad. Alright, I am going to turn our mat. Our mat's holding up fairly well. Like there's definitely some indents in it. It's over a year old, and we have definitely put it through its paces. So I'm fairly pleased with the wear it's gotten. Much better than the last one. So I'm pretty sure I messed up. Oh, jeez. Almost spilled my water. I'm pretty sure I messed up the last one. Trying to pull off a piece that I did not lift up very often. I also wasn't shaving the other one because I didn't know I could, to attempt to clean it. I mean, the shaving doesn't get every last bit of it off of there. But I also don't have the patience and or the time to sit there with like a pair of tweezers and pluck every single piece of fiber off of there. Some people will put a piece of felt down on top of the mat to try to pick up the extra fluff into that instead of it going into the mat. That's more for people working on critters though. I don't know that that would really work. In my situation, I might just end up attaching it to the back of this. I don't really know quite how that would go. I mean, I guess we could try it sometime, but it doesn't really bother me that much. So, I mean, I know from experience at this point that these things will need to get replaced eventually. But at least it's not like turning into a bowl like the one was. That was pretty bad. Buddy, you have food. I can't offer you anything else. If you're not gonna eat, that's not my fault. I guess he's mad? I don't know. Right, give me 1 second. I need to get a drink. I will be right back. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. Back to the great stabbing. We'll get there eventually. Yeah, we probably won't be mounting it today. Just based off of what time it is, and I still have to do the foliage. And like paint everything and stuff, so alright, we'll get all of this worked into here as best as we can. I'm still really kind of surprised they put us in that severe thunderstorm watch earlier. Some of the weather people seemed to get it, I guess. But I guess they were afraid stuff was gonna start to develop and take off. I think there was like maybe 1 or 2 showers in our area that tried to pop up. And I think they fizzled out before they did anything, or they moved on very quickly before they did anything. And they didn't really seem to become anything more than like a quick possible rain shower. Hold on a second. Alright, so we will. It's 10. Walmart's still open.
Okay. I mean, just fucking grab your card and I'll go get it.
We don't have anything. We don't have anything.
It was lag. Get dressed. Give your card. I'll go get you
Please, no.
Mom, just let him go get it so he doesn't have to deal with it tomorrow.
I don't have anything to give you anyhow, so if you want any fucking headache relief, I gotta go get it.
Sorry about that. Yes, please let my husband run to the store right now. because Walmart closes in an hour, and then you're just gonna have to cope until tomorrow when the closest store opens at like 6 a.m. So please, just let him go get it now. Sorry, I didn't know that was going to turn into a whole debate, or I would have muted the whole thing. Well, I thought streaming later would at least lessen the interruptions, and I guess it has to a degree. It hasn't been constant. Do you have your wallet?
Yep.
It hasn't been constant interruptions. Zuzu, he'll be right back. Because when we were streaming during the day, the dogs were being needy. My mom constantly needed stuff. It seemed like every 15 minutes somebody needed something. Either my mom needed something, his mom needed something. And there were times where his mom needed stuff like every 5 to 10 minutes. But she didn't actually need anything. And since I switched to streaming this week at night, the mother-in-law hasn't really bothered him very much during the day when I would have originally been streaming. At least the past couple of days, which I find absolutely fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Now today, she wasn't feeling well, and then the day before she wasn't feeling well, so it could just be coincidence. Or maybe it was the day before. And I feel like they jinxed me with that migraine yesterday, because his mom had one the day before, and he's like, yeah, we're all surprised that you don't have one when everybody else is feeling like crap. And I'm like, maybe I won't have one this time. It might not be till for like another day or so. And yeah, I had one yesterday that was not great. I tried to fight it valiantly. I gave it my all and then gave up and just couldn't fight anymore. Like, I was starting to get like the foggy, tired, like around 6 p.m. and I was like, I kind of just want to go to bed, but the weather is supposed to be getting crappy real soon, and I really don't want to lay down and go through the pain of laying down just to have to pop up in a hurry to take refuge in case something goes wrong with the weather. I was like, I don't want to deal with that if I don't have to. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Get that worked in. This is a good song. I've got music in my ears. I'm not playing it on stream because that would get me in trouble, because it is all very much copyright music. But who is this? Panic at the Disco? Oh, let me see. Spotify will cooperate. Yeah. LA devotee. I usually do like more instrumental chill stuff when we are either painting or doing our embroidery, but for this, I need stuff in my ears that's a little more bounce to it. Just to you know, give me something to keep me awake a little bit. Because when we're doing the large blocks of color, it can get kind of sloggy. I'm not gonna lie. I tend to work in slightly smaller pieces normally, like slightly smaller chunks of fluff, especially when I'm doing a larger piece, so that way getting more fluff gives my arm a chance to rest for a minute. Because it's a lot of stabbing with our little needle here. And sometimes you just need to take a minute of not stabbing stuff. Just give the old arm a break. Now, diamond painting was something I could never really get into. It didn't really interest me. I mean, yeah, they're kind of sparkly, but I actually don't have a flat enough work surface to really work on those either. Like, I have like a card table, like a collapsible table that I could work on, but I can't really stream with that table. So that's a bit problematic. And I don't know, just really didn't speak to me to even attempt those. So is that... I might need to add a little bit there. Can't tell if that is a thin spot or not. Okay. So let's see about getting this guy worked into here. We'll see, I might have this a little too spread out in part of it here. But I'm also going to end up overlapping a little bit more to reach the bottom edge, so kind of have to just wait it out and see what the fiber is gonna do as we attach it. And hopefully we'll get to where we need to go. And we'll see how this time slot does for us. If it doesn't really work, then after the mother-in-law departs back to her traveling around with her sister, I might end up trying to move it back. We'll see. We're just gonna have to see how things go. Alright. Yeah, so I definitely need another piece to lay into there. So based off the time, we'll probably be able to start the foliage tonight, but we probably won't finish the foliage tonight. And that's fine, because then that will give me a bit more time to work on building the frame carefully. So I'm not rushing working with hot glue, because that's something that you really don't want to do. And considering this is the first time I'm trying to build a frame of this size, I kind of, have an idea of what I need to do based off of the little 3-inch ones. But obviously this is not 3 inches. So, it's gonna take me a little bit longer to fuss with him. And probably a little bit longer to paint everything too. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. Oh, what am I gonna sign it in? I'm gonna have to sign it in paint, I guess. Although I have one of those paint markers. Oh, 1 second. Someone answered it, so I guess the husband was calling to double check what my mom needed. I hope that's what that was, though he got there awfully fast. Well, he left about 10, so I guess it was about normal. There's no traffic this time of night either. Guess it's really only about 10 minutes down the road. So we got that guy. All right, in there. So we're almost done with the purple. Almost. Just have this little sectiony bit here to finish filling in. Just a little bit of water. Alright. Just wanted to make sure I had enough clearance at the bottom here. Alright, so I'm gonna try to get this edge piece. Now the very, very edge of it, I am felting into the mat just a little bit. Oh, just a minute again. I don't know what's going on. Every time I get up to get the phone, somebody's answered it. And I can't see who's calling because they've picked it up. Need to put my mom's Kindle in airplane mode so she can play the one game that she has. Because it was being silly about loading for her suddenly. And it was getting stuck, and it was a game that didn't necessarily have to have internet connection. It was like a word crossword thingy, and we're like, oh good, we can run that in airplane mode because it's a game that has constant ads in it, and she can't see the X's to close them properly all of the time, so then she ends up opening them, like the ads. So she'll have like, I think she recently had like 63 tabs open on the internet browser on the thing. So every time she needs our help figuring out what word she's stuck on, we're having to go in there and close all the ad tabs. But we haven't had to do that recently, though we should probably check in the morning. Because her other games, I don't know if she's been playing them since we put it into airplane mode, but they need the internet, and we showed her how to turn the internet back on it for when she wants to do those games, but I don't know if she remembered how to do that. And if she did, I don't know if she remembered to put it back in airplane mode to switch back to the other one. I just don't know. Sorry, the light keeps hitting my arm a certain way, and I keep seeing like the remnants of what I thought was like a scar from what I thought was a ingrown hair zit on my arm. Turned out it was a burn. It was a burn bubble. And I didn't remember burning myself. And I didn't realize it was a burn bubble till after I popped it. And I was like, oh wow, that really hurt. Why? And then I was like, did I actually burn myself when I was making dinner? I didn't remember doing so. Apparently, yes. In fact, that was a burn. Because that took forever to heal. It's like right in there. Oh, the mark from it. For a while, I had a mark still running down my arm. It's not there anymore. It was a white line. Momo's nails had been particularly sharp. And he raked me on my arm. And I had a very fine like line of blood running down the side of my arm. I was like, oh god, buddy. That took forever to like it did like it scabbed over and it was so small. It didn't even really bleed, and I was surprised that the scar from that was there for forever. I think it's only just recently faded. Sometimes the way the light hits it, I swear I still see it. I still have a rough patch of skin on my one ear from the dog that my brother had gotten that we had to watch while he was in the middle of doing something. I don't know if he was in the middle of moving or he didn't have the yard right or something, and we had to hold his puppy for a while, but he wouldn't let us discipline the puppy. And I'm like, no. If that dog does something wrong, he needs to be told no when it happens. Like, you can't delay that. He's going to become a monster. And, because it was a German Shepherd puppy, I'm like, no, we need to nip that in the butt. He was, like, going after my mom's feet. He tripped her and she fell hard a couple of times, and hurt herself. And he, like, clawed her feet several times and she had, like, blood running down her foot and like her lower leg, and I'm like, no, this dog needs to be told no. He cannot get away with this. That is not acceptable. He's going to think it's okay to roughhouse with humans like that, and it's not. Like, no, you're setting him up for failure. And I was sitting on the couch with him. And I, like, wanted nothing to do with this puppy. Like, if I can't discipline him, then don't ask me to dog sit him. Number one. Number two, I was sleeping during the day. I was actually on my way to bed, or it might have been my morning. It might have been, like, my night off, so I hadn't gone to bed yet. Or I was sitting there eating something. No, I was just sitting on the couch. And Russell was sitting there. And the puppy was sitting on the couch. And I can't remember if the puppy was in between us or if Russell was on the other side of me. And I could see the dog out of the corner of my eye. And he was looking at me out of the corner of his. And I started to get a funny feeling in the pit of my stomach that I'm like, don't look away. Don't look away from that dog, because something's going to happen. And all of a sudden, he lunged towards my face. Not aggressively, per se, I believe it was he wanted to play and roughhouse, except we weren't allowed to tell him no when he was doing that to my mom's legs. So he's like, oh, I'm going to do that to your face. I just managed to move the majority of my face out of the way and put my hand up and deflected him enough where he bit my ear or grabbed my ear with his teeth. And it was bleeding pretty good. And he scraped the front and the back. He didn't completely bite through it. But I was like, after that, I'm like, I'm done. I'm done with this. You're not gonna tell me that I'm not allowed to discipline this dog after he bites my face and draws blood. No. No. I'm gonna tell this dog no, and I'm gonna whap his nose with an empty paper towel tube. Because that is not okay. But, shortly thereafter, my brother finally came and got the dog, and then we moved out, so. Was that you calling?
Yes. When I pulled up, Meow Meow was at their bowls. They ran off because they were afraid of it.
Because both times when I went to see who it was, my mom had already answered it.
Yeah, no, that was me on my phone, yeah. Sorry. I had a little brain fart and couldn't remember which one she took.
Okay. Just a little bit. Oh, well, I need to fill that in. Because that's a bit of a thin spot. That's not the way the light is hitting that. Which I kind of figured, because just because of the way that kind of went in there. That one seemed like it was gonna be a little bit troublesome. So does Meow Meow need food?
I don't know. I mostly just was checking on him.
Yeah, I don't know why they're like lovable as all get out one minute, and then the next minute they're like, nope, I want nothing to do with you. Something has upset me. Go away. Like, if I have headphones on half the time, I can't get near them. I have to take them off. If there's the slightest change in the way I look, she runs away. And I don't know where she's been all day. Because I did go out and check a couple times around Nancy's porch and didn't see her. But she could have been anywhere, knowing that she's crossing the road at times. She was just sitting in the middle of the road the other night, and somebody beeped their horn at them to get them to move. I'm like, cat, you're gonna get hit. The way people are around here, some of them don't hesitate. Especially if they think there's nobody around that can pin it on them. Let me pop that up. Still needs to be attached a bit more in there. It's still pretty raised up. And it was a bit of a bigger patch than I really wanted to put in there, but I also didn't really feel like trimming it down at the moment. Alright. Okay, so that's not too bad in there. I have just a little bit more to go on the purple. I'm just gonna kind of lay this guy in here because I know I've got to add more to it. I know this little piece isn't going to cut it for the space that I've got remaining. And that's okay. That's not a huge issue. Like, we can always add more to it. Not a problem. But there's no reason not to use this piece. Okay. I keep lifting it up because right in here, this last little bit of felt is kind of like bunching up a little bit. And I don't want it to do anything silly. So I'm trying to be careful. I don't want it to like get stabbed in there bunched up. So the bunch doesn't stay. So I keep trying to pull the bunch back out. Oh my goodness, I keep burping and I'm tasting my lunch. Not my dinner, my lunch. Like, what? That's so dumb. It really doesn't make much sense to my brain. I mean, you would think it would be the last thing I ate. Which at this point was quite some time ago. Okay, so we've got just that little bit more to add to this guy. Alright. Let's put a bit more of our purple. I don't even think we really need quite that much. We'll see. I mean, who knows? Maybe I will end up needing that much, but I would like to hope not. But you never know. Just scraping out the end there a little bit. Just to keep it from like looking weird at the attachment point. Okay. Get that. So I'm gonna try to stab this into the end part here. And that will end up stabbing it into the mat just a little, but that's okay. It won't be there very long, and it's not getting very many layers stabbed into it. Just trying to make sure that I am attached to the edge here. And we will clean that up when we get the top and the bottom. I am going to pop this up gently, even though we're not quite done attaching that in there. Keep getting those unguarded fingers a little dangerously close in there. These keep reminding me of like when I've got band-aids around my fingers, especially when it's like over the joint and my finger doesn't want to bend. So I'm like, oh, my finger is injured. I need to protect the finger. So then I'm sticking the unprotected fingers in the way. I have to keep reminding myself, no, no. You need to put that finger in there. Well, I mean, you don't need it necessarily completely in the line of fire unless you're needing to hold a piece in place until it gets attached. But let's use the protected finger first, shall we? That would be the best course of action here. Okay. So I'm just gonna work that end bit there that's kind of hanging off, just so it's not quite so loppy. Alright, that looks pretty good. I'm just gonna look at it from another angle here. Alright, I think we look pretty good. Okay, so I'm gonna tuck that back into that bag. Is this in focus? I'm not sure. My eyes might just be tired. Oh no, my glasses are dirty. Okay. Oh boy, yeah, my glasses are a mess. I'm not quite sure when that happened. Maybe from cooking dinner. Okay, so now to try to figure out how exactly I want to do this. Alright, so I'm gonna get some water. And oh, now I don't want this dripping. Just drip water on the thing. That's fine. It'll dry. Not a big deal. Like I don't want my fluff saturated. We're not doing wet felting. That's a whole different beast. Whole different beast that I don't want to do, and I think for that you might need to use the roving, because this stuff doesn't always like to stick to itself. Alright, so there's a lot of these bits in here, so have to keep in mind that our frame will end up covering some of it. Now, it's tempting to make these really super thin, like your little fluffy bits here. It's tempting to get just a very thin amount, but you don't want to go too thin. I've found over the years, because as you stab in, it is going to pull those fibers together, and it's going to reduce their width a bit. And the more that you stab at them, the more they will get pulled in. That's just the way it is. And then, you know, you can kind of angle your needle a little bit if you need one side to come in a little bit, or if you need each side to get nudged in if it's just a little bit wider than you were necessarily looking for. Now, I'm not probably going to get all of these in here, right? Because that's just crazy. Because there is quite a lot going on here. But we do want to add a fair few. And I know I'm going to hit the edge of this here somewhere. And I'm just going to kind of re-tap down around it. Make sure everybody's behaving in there. Alright, so I'm gonna gently pop that guy up. And now, you know, some of these have some little like bits and tips kind of like bent over, and that is gonna be like kind of up to you. Because remember, this is an inspo reference photo. It doesn't need to be completely identical. I need to add a little bit more to that top there. Like, you know, it's gonna be a little tough. Oh, uh-oh. Careful there, the pointy bit was sticking up. You don't want to stab thyself. That would be bad. You know, but just kind of figure it out. See what's gonna work for you. And, you know, feel free to change it up. You don't have to do them all exactly the same. Now remember, our frame's gonna probably cut that off a little bit, and that's okay. In fact, it most definitely will cut some of that off. Not a big deal. You know, we want to vary our heights a little bit. Actually, before we go too far with that, get another little piece here. And because that's gonna get cut off a little bit from the frame, filling it in there, I kind of want to put a couple extra guys kind of popping off the edges of this one a bit. Like, I was gonna leave it be, but it felt a little naked. And it felt like it shouldn't be. Now, I took the wider pieces and kind of stuck them off the side and took like the little tiny wispy tail that I was left with and kind of put that on our stem, just because I felt like it was going to blend in a little bit better. If that's not what you want to do, then by all means don't. Just a second. Okay, sorry about that. She used to be in bed by 9 o'clock at the latest. And now she's going out outside again. Maybe a little bit lower on that one. So, you know, just kind of take your time with this part. And, you know, they don't have to be super clean in this section. They can be a little rough, a little raggedy. You know, leaves and flowers and their silhouettes, and they kind of look like they might be dried up or like dead grass, or maybe they just really haven't gotten going yet for the season. Could be the end of the season. So yeah, we'll end up doing the mounting next week, more than likely. So this one, I'm gonna do like a little nubby sticking out on that side. Okay. So there's one. I moved that over there, but my mouse pad is black, and I couldn't really see where it was sitting. Sorry, there was a noise behind me, and I was like, what was that? It was the Peabody. Because of course it was. Alright. So I'm going to have to add a little bit to this one for length. Because I misjudged how much extra I needed on that guy. And you know, it's gonna take a minute because you know we're gonna layer everybody up here. Because there's a fair bit of activity happening in this layer. Okay, so we'll just add a little bit more to this guy. Okay. I'm just gonna kind of work this back and forth a bit.
Eva, don't start that shit.
What's he doing? I wonder if Mimi's outside. Okay, so I'm just making sure that I do in fact have that attached. It can be a little tricky to tell sometimes, especially with its when it's black on the darker colors. Alright, so I just kind of made a little tiny fluffy nugget. It wasn't super, super tiny, but it was fairly small. Like, it didn't need to be super gigantic or anything. You know, we want it to look like the tiny remains of a seed pod or something. Of course, I want it to be attached. It's right there. It looks like it didn't want to look like that. But that's okay. We will just add another little bit of fluff. All right. You sit there. And I'm okay if there's like some color kind of poking through this part. It could be like cracks in the plant or just the weird way that it's laying, you know. Like, that's okay. Because we'll just have our sunrise colors kind of shining through there. Like, maybe this is like old dead plants. And it's just what's left of them, right? For the season. So they're starting to crack and fall apart. They're not gonna all be like perfectly sized bits and stuff here, so like that one felt a little big, but that's okay. We'll just stab that a little bit extra, it'll be fine. Okay. Sorry, legs are achy. I just had to change how I was sitting. This one actually feels a little big too. Whoop. Come back here. That's alright though. feel like we can work that guy in there. And that should be just fine. All right. Just want little bits here. Yes, technically that is a little bit. But it felt kind of big. Our little nubby sticking off. Just the tiniest bit of water. Like a drop, and then like flick the drop off back into the water cup. Just enough to get you some friction on your hand to kind of shape it. Like if it's a little too wet, you can still kind of work with it, but we're not looking for super wet here. Don't really want it all that wet. I mean, you can still kind of work with it, but like it's not the end of the world if it gets a little too damp, but not really what we're aiming for. That's why I'm like flicking the water off of my finger, like the extra water, and then I'm like dragging it on my palm. I don't want it super wet. If I wanted it super wet, I would just dunk it in the water. But not what I'm looking for. And again, at this point, it is pretty much user's imagination for how heavy you want to do these guys. How few, how many, how you want to make them look. They don't all need to look identical. They can if you really want them to be like a field of the same thing. I mean, and honestly, you really could just go like a field of flowers in here if you really wanted to, just all silhouetted out. Or you could do some silhouetted trees if you're not feeling the flowers, or maybe you want to do some like rooftops. That is also very much an option. this guy. Alrighty, now I need a bit more. It's water. Trying to get a good sized. Yeah, I wanted a good sized fluffy snake that was holding together and not trying to tear apart. Trying to do this gently so I don't pull any connections that are just barely there a little too far out. Alright, so this guy is kind of up to there. No, no, maybe it's a little too tall. So I might try to maybe match heights a little bit. At least on a few, like to the photo. But they're gonna look a bit different. Sorry, it's touching my keyboard tray accidentally, making it creak in its spot. Okay. Hoping that this one is gonna come across as being in front, so I'm kind of overlapping them a bit here. I'm still trying to keep them separate but overlapped. Like they are their own entity. Remember, if you go into trim, make sure you don't cut your project. Because that would be... I mean, it might be fixable, but it also might be noticeable. And it's going to add a little bit more legwork, or handwork, really. And probably definitely complicate matters. So it kind of anchored the one end, and then I kind of came back and anchored the other into the stalk, or stem, or whatever you want to call it. Guess that really depends on what you're wanting your silhouetted thing to represent. Okay. I don't really know what these are. I'm just making kind of like leafy silhouetted guys. Don't really have a particular plan in place for these. Aside from making sure that they are actually attached. Yeah, the thinner they are, the more you stab it, the more you're gonna kind of lose it into the background. Just something to be aware of, in case that's going to be problematic for you or bug you. Now, if it is a little bit on the thinner side, when you go to put it on, it might not necessarily poke all the way through. Just as long as when you rub your finger over it, it's not like moving around and you're satisfied with how it's attached on there, then you're fine. Like, it doesn't have to be perfectly popped through the back, because it might just be stuck into the orange layers that we've got going on here on the front. As long as it's not going to come off and you're happy with the attachment, then it's all good. Okay. So, like I said, we'll just work on getting these guys attached up in here for tonight at least. And then next week, I'm sure we'll still have some more of these to put in. Before we start working on building our frame. I might cut frame pieces ahead of time. The husband to help me because the wood for this one's a little bit thicker. And I can't just cut it with these scissors. I can cut it with the chunkier scissors. But to make sure that they're all the right size, I might need his help. And I'm going to take this all the way across. It's not just going to be over here. It's going to take us a little bit of time. That's all. Shaping our runs here. And don't be afraid to overlap them over the others. So that'll also help kind of push the other ones back a little bit further. Okay. Like, don't forget to bring it down a bit here. just kind of focus on one plant at a time. Remember that lesson from Bob. Okay. This guy. Okay. That's pretty good there. Okay. Alright, so I want to get another guy here. Sometimes we gotta get a little creative. How we want to shape our piece here. And yeah, there's all different heights kind of hanging out here. Now, if it feels like your bit of sky that's behind it is kind of like sticking up too far, like it feels like this is sinking in, your branchy, planty guy, you can kind of stab it around your silhouette here, and that might help a little bit. Just to kind of get that resettled. Just a bit there. Now you can really do any kind of planty guys in here that you want. If you wanted to, you could do like cattails or reeds or just any old flowers. Just like some sticky sticks. And poking up from wherever they're poking up from. It is definitely creator's choice here. Okay. So I'm not sure, do I want to do little nubbies on this one? I think I want to keep going with like these kind of leaves. I'm really liking how that's looking. Quite a bit. Alright, so this guy, I'm probably gonna like do that. Just a minute. Okay, sorry. Let's see. This one. Have him kind of bent in that direction. You know what? It's okay if you've got some little bits kind of sticking up off the edge, like it's not completely up against the leaf, because you know, maybe that part of the leaf is shredded. What was wrong?
She had a mayfly or whatever.
Oh, well, that came in when she did.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, if she's gonna keep going out this late, they're gonna come in. Time of year, all the buggies are waking up. And wanting to get into the house, but the joke's on them because the cats are going to get them if we don't first. Kiba, I'm gonna dock your pay. You weren't in there hunting the bugs. Okay. This guy. I think the next one's gonna be a real tall guy. I don't know, maybe we'll do another small one like into here. Then we'll do like a really tall guy. Kind of over top. Okay. A little bit there. This guy was a little bit chunkier than his friends. That's okay. We can have some chunky guys in here. Ain't hurting nothing. It's all good. I am really liking how those are starting to layer in there. I think that's going to look pretty darn good against our sunrise once we get everybody in place. But I think we're gonna call it there for today because I'm getting kind of tired. So, not bad though. Not too bad. We got the purple finished. And we are starting our little planty guys here. My fingers sweating like crazy too. So we're looking pretty good here. I think that'll look really good once we get everybody else of varying heights popped into there. So I'm hoping that next week, if I start a little bit early and I get the pieces cut ahead of time for the frame, that we'll be able to finish up our plant stuff and get this guy all framed up. Here's to hoping, at least. So thank you guys for checking things out. Like I said, we might not stay on this one very long. We'll see how things go for a little bit. And if it doesn't end up working out, then we'll flip back to the other time frame. But for right now, this is where we're gonna be, at least for the next month or two, maybe 3. We'll see how things go. But thank you all for popping in and checking this one out. As always, don't forget to follow socially links down below. Those will take you to the Ko-fi for those that don't want to support the channel through Twitch. There is the link to the Blue Sky. I am there instead of X Twitter, and there's also a link there to the YouTube channel where we try to get most of the live streams archived, and everything's pretty much on a playlist of some description. So like needle felting, I don't know if I pulled all the needle felting off onto its own list. I think I did. And then there's a painting playlist and there's now an embroidery playlist. There's a latch hook playlist, but I only have the one latch hook kit that I've done on there. I don't have any more right now. Maybe we can try to get another one later. That's going to be more of a winter thing because it gets so hot here, the fuzz will stick to my sweaty hands. So that's got to be more of like a winter time, I'm cold, my hands aren't sweaty kind of deal. Um kind of thing. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe over there. It's free to do that on the YouTubes. And then if you turn your notifications to all, it's set to personalize. You have to go in and set it to all manually, or else you'll miss when some things get posted. Like we're doing a playthrough of Little Known Galaxy, which we have not streamed. That is exclusive to the YouTube channel, along with like Bear and Breakfast, Honey, I Joined a Cult. Oh, that's one that I want to do another playthrough on with like a different theme to that one. And you know, all of the things. So I will try to see everybody tomorrow evening for Planet Zoo. We will see what happens with that with the weather. I might try to start around 8 Central to get in before the weather gets funky. We'll see. We'll see how that time frame lines up. But everybody enjoy your Friday, and I will hopefully see you all tomorrow.